So, I'd like to show you another sample advertising essay. This one did not get an A. This one got a B plus. This is mainly because of editing issues and grammar problems. This student happened to be, well, English is not his first language, let's say that. And he still managed to really convey clear analysis, good support, clear organization. So he really did a lot of things very well. Now, you will notice as you go through this, there are lots of run-on sentences. There are some verb problems and things like that. Some of these I will correct as I read them. I don't really want to focus on those there, although you should be aware to eliminate run-ons and things like that from your essays. But I'd like to talk about major things that he does well. And one of the things he does well is his introduction. If you'll notice, it's quite short. It's just 2 sentences here. He says, many men in our society have achieved great accomplishments. We can find a big number of men leading scientific research, managing large companies, or risking their lives to protect others. Unfortunately, they are not always portrayed this way. And then here's his thesis. Many of our modern advertisements show men as people who lack basic intelligence. So very clear message, a message about one group of people, men, okay, and a clear point, okay, they lack basic intelligence. Now, he does a lot with animals, and so this is interesting. So his first body paragraph, his first supporting paragraph, he starts out by explaining the whole animal issue. Okay, and I'm going to stop there. And so he kind of goes into it here, and then we get the topic sentence, but that's fine. The topic sentence just needs to come near the beginning. It doesn't always have to be the first sentence. Most of the time it is, but not always. And this is a good example of when it wouldn't work as the first sentence. And so he explains, many animals are considered less intelligent than humans. They lack self-control, morals, and brain power. When someone is compared to an animal, it is considered degrading and humiliating. Unfortunately, many men in our modern commercials are illustrated with animal-like characteristics. And that is really his topic sentence right here. I want to mention something about the word males or females. You have to be careful about that it doesn't seem like you are putting people in the category of an animal or a species to evaluate. In this case, I don't think males was the correct word choice, just because he's talking about animals here, and animals also have males and females, so it would have been appropriate to say men. But that's a side issue, just one of my personal preferences. But this is his point, and he does a good job of explaining this point. He uses one commercial that he really gives good detail about and explains, and then he has others in paragraphs after this. Here's his first example. In a Yoplait commercial, we find a woman excitedly talking on her phone about what she ate last night, while a man in the background is working on his own thing. As soon as the woman mentions some delicacy, the man perks up his head like a dog who heard the bag of food open. As the woman rambles on about other flavors of food she had, the camera zooms in on the flavors of yogurt stacked in the refrigerator. Not realizing that his wife is talking about yogurt, the man shoves them aside and starts frantically going through the refrigerator looking for food that isn't there. The woman turns around and asks him, "What are you doing?" The man turns his face to her in surprise, looking confused and guilty, like a puppy who got caught eating off the table. The man in this ad is shown as someone who is lacking self-control and would jump at the first opportunity of having some food. In addition, it seems that he is lacking basic intellect. He failed to understand what the woman was talking about, even though the yogurts were literally in front of his nose. This kind of behavior and intellect is not suited for a mature man, but more for a dog or a cat. And so here, notice how he describes the commercial. He makes some comparisons in the commercial to animals, and then at the end he explains it further. And this is a very good thing to do. Don't just put in an advertisement and figure that we're all going to get the point that you want us to get from the ad. A lot of times, most of the time I'll say, that will not happen. You will need to explain. Now, there are those rare ones where, you give us your point, you give us across the commercial and it's just obvious, okay, to everybody. But those are very rare. So if you're in any doubt, please explain. Because once you submit an essay, once you turn in an article to be published, you're not going to be there when the reader has your writing. And so if they are confused, that's a problem. All right, so he does a very good job here. Nice first paragraph. The next paragraph, he kind of breaks these up into different paragraphs for examples. That's fine. You don't have to do that. Please don't have any paragraph go over a whole page for a paragraph. That's too long. But it can be short like this. That's all right. Or he could have joined this one with the next one. That could have been an option too. And here, because he's talking about the same thing, he doesn't have to do a big topic sentence. He has a transition here, and he reminds us of his point from the topic sentence here. And then he describes the commercial about a plumbing company. He gives his explanation for it. He gives his analysis of it. Frankly, in this one, I thought he was less successful. I, for one, was less convinced by this. But I can also see his point. Just because I'm not convinced by it doesn't mean it's not a good example. It's fine. It's not fabulous, but it's fine. Next, we'll look at another paragraph. This one I think was a little more on the nose here. We can observe very similar behavior in Roomba's self-cleaning iRobot commercial, which starts with a housewife sitting on a sofa explaining how her family is a bunch of animals. So here we literally have people as animals. As she continues complaining, she points toward her husband, pointing out that he is one of the reasons why her house is always a mess. The camera shifts to the side, showing her husband and showing that she's pointing to an actual donkey. So he talks about the donkey here. Barn animals tend not to have any manners, nor do they care about their surroundings. By replacing the man with an actual barn animal, the commercial is stating that the man is uncivilized. Furthermore, it follows the donkey around as he breaks, destroys, and smudges his house with dirt, therefore enhancing the point that men are dirty, uncivilized animals. All right, let's continue. Here's a nice transition. Notice also that his transitions are in the correct place. They are at the beginning of the paragraph, not the end of the previous paragraph. Please don't put them there. Please put them here. And he does a good job with that. Just like comparing someone to an animal, when a person is compared to a child, it is considered insulting and disrespectful. So that's a nice transition. And then here's his topic sentence. Unfortunately, many commercials show adult men acting and thinking like children. Okay, so clear point of view here. We can find a great example of childish behavior in T-Mobile's Fave 5 commercial. The commercial starts with a mother and a daughter sitting at the kitchen table. As the daughter browses her phone, her mother asks, "Is that Ricky Fisher in your Fave 5? 3 times first grader, Ricky Fisher? Honey, doesn't that kid eat pencils? Honey, you should associate yourself with smart guys." In reply, her daughter points out that her mother has her father and Uncle Joe in her Fave 5. As her mother confirms it, through the window, we get a glimpse of the 2 grown men cheering with excitement as they drive a large lawnmower over a homemade ramp and crash into the ground. This kind of behavior is suited for children who don't think things through, not for adult men. The scene with these men is very similar to many movie scenes where a young kid builds a ramp out of garbage, gets on his bike, and goes for a jump. He doesn't think about the fact that it might be dangerous and he might get hurt. All he cares about is the thrill of the jump. A very similar display of immature behavior is shown in a Hanes sock commercial. This is a transition and also a topic sentence here. And we get the description of the Hanes sock commercial. I don't know whether it's just that students have used this over and over in my classes in these essays, or whether I've really seen this on TV that much. But I swear this commercial has been on just about every day. So probably you've seen it as well. And again, we've got a man behaving just stupidly with his child. Both are about at the same same level of intelligence, it seems, in the commercial. And he ends with, it would make sense if this ill thought out idea came from the little kid, not from a grown man. So again, a nice comment on the commercial. Remember, always follow your commercial with your own comment about it. Why does it fit? What's the point you want to make? All of that. He has a McDonald's commercial. Again, nice beginning. We find another example of immature behavior from a grown man in a McDonald's McRib commercial. Nice little transition with the word another. And then we have a description of the commercial. Very nice. And then he ends. Even though these commercials portray a lot of men negatively, there are many other groups of people who are stereotyped as well, but let us not be influenced by that. Let us strive each day to become a better person and see the good in others. This is like a call to action type of conclusion, where we've been talking about a problem, and at the end he says, hey, let's do something about it. And he's not calling for us to boycott anything. I mean, that gets kind of a little sticky when you try to do stuff like that. But he's just calling for us, hey, let's rise above these commercials. Very nice job. Let's see, did I include no, I didn't include a works cited page. But I hope that this example helped you and gives you another example of a good essay.